I don't know, maybe a big bowl of mango, I guess. I don't know. Like I said, I'm going to make some enemies here.
Hello, Bearcats, and welcome to Bonita Interviews series. I'm Dimitri, and this week I had the pleasure of interviewing Mr. Meyer, who teaches AP and regular world history. In this episode, we dive into his fascinating love for surfing and Hawaii. Let's get started.
Hello, Mr. Meyer.
Hello, Dimitri. How are you?
Good. How about you?
I'm good, thanks.
Please, can you identify yourself for the people watching us who do not know you?
I am Mr. Meyer. I teach social sciences. This year I'm teaching world history and AP world history.
What is the first time you got into surfing, and how long have you been doing it?
Okay, so we're going to talk about surfing. I came into surfing from sort of a swimming background. When I was in high school, my club team coach, would take us down to the beach all the time on Saturdays to do what they call pier swims, where you swim from one pier to another. And at that time, it was down in Newport Beach, and and so I was a high school kid, and I always obviously was aware that surfing existed, and I saw people doing it and that sort of thing. And so I kind of came at it from like the under the water perspective. It was something that I was sort of always interested in, and I'd always body surfed since I was like a little kid. So I kind of came at it from that angle, and plus the fact that like when you're surfing, you're wearing a wetsuit and you're not usually like sitting in the water, and so in Southern California that makes it a lot more comfortable a lot of the time, just because. When you're doing a peer-to-peer swim, and if it's 58 degrees, it's 58 degrees, and you're there in a Speedo. So there was a lot of stuff that was appealing about surfing.
What was the biggest wave you have ever ridden?
Biggest wave I've ever ridden. You know what? The thing about surfing, and a lot of people who do it, both men and women, will tell you that a lot of times they don't actually remember a lot of their waves. They won't remember most of them, in fact. But some of the bigger ones that I remember were in Hawaii. In fact, this last summer, my family and I were lucky enough to go to Kauai, and I was able to surf for 10 days straight at the south shore of Kauai. And there were some pretty serious waves that I caught there, to the point where nothing that you would find like on YouTube, or like back in my day, like in a surfing magazine, but some where, you sort of realize that, okay, if I make a mistake here, it's a possibility I'm going to get hurt. And so anyway, answer your question, the biggest wave, probably somewhere in the like 7 to 8 foot range, which for a professional is nothing, but for a rookie or like an amateur like me, that's enough to to raise your pulse.
But surfing for 10 days is actually impressive.
It was a lot of fun. I came back kind of wrecked. My body was sore in ways that it hadn't been in a long time, but I don't regret a second of it.
Do you have a dream surf spot you want to go to?
Costa Rica. I think everybody talks about Costa Rica, sort of in the surfing community, at least on the West Coast. The water is warm year-round. Because of its geography, it'll get waves from both like the northern hemisphere in the wintertime and the southern hemisphere in the summertime. It's apparently, I've never been, because it's my dream, or one of my dream locations. And from what I hear, it's not nearly as crowded as, Southern California or some breaks in Hawaii. So that's on the list. I don't know if I'll get there anytime soon, but, there's always hope.
I know you love Hawaii so much.
Yes, I do. If you've been in my room, you know that.
Have you ever surfed there?
Well, yeah. So, like we were talking, I was lucky enough to surf Kauai this summer. We also surfed Oahu this summer. That was like part of the trip as well. I surfed on the Big Island and Maui as well. So, yes, I mean, it's hard to compete with Hawaii. It's always 85 degrees. Even if the sun isn't shining and it's windy and rainy, it's still 85 degrees. It's hard to complain about that.
Hawaii is like always hot, and then I want to go there so bad in the summer, because I complain, because here in California, like you have no clue what the weather is gonna be for tomorrow, because like it was raining, because last week it was like so sunny in the morning, and
Yep.
then it was raining in the like afternoon.
Exactly. I got
Like-
caught out with, I came dressed in my usual uniform, and it was colder at the end of school than it was at the beginning of school that day.
What's your favorite Hawaiian food after a long surf?
The thing about Hawaiian food, and I'm going to make some enemies here. So I'm a vegetarian, and most Hawaiian food involves some kind of meat. It's either seafood or spam, or chicken or what have you. So I don't really have a go-to, for, I don't know, maybe a big bowl of mango, I guess. I don't know. Like I said, I'm going to make some enemies here.
I mean, if you can make a cheat day, like when you are in Hawaii.
A gigantic platter of nachos, and I'm happy with that, really.
Do you have any advice for a new surfer?
Okay, so when you are getting started, you are probably going to get frustrated. It's in some ways, it's a little bit like learning to ski or snowboard, where you're going to have a couple of days at least where you're going to feel like this is not working. I'm doing something wrong, and I've sort of learned, like with myself, and then like with my own kids. My kids are both in their 20s now, and they surf off and on as well now. You got to sort of keep pushing through, and it may take like 3 days, it may take 5 days in the water, but at some point you're going to hit this moment where all of a sudden everything is going to start to click and you're actually going to have fun. Those first days may not be a whole lot of fun, but once you actually start having a little bit of fun, you're going to keep doing it most likely. If you live near the coast and you live near an accessible body of water, you're going to start to do it more and more often. And the more you do it, the more fun you're going to have.
Thank you for having us in here.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
We will see you next time.
Right on. Sounds good.
Thank you.
Happily.
Thanks for tuning in. Stay curious, Bearcats, and join us next week for another exciting story. See you then.